Good morning, children. Sai Ram. Welcome back to your political science online session. Children, today we will start with part 4 of lesson number 2, the electoral process. But before that, let's have a quick recap of what we had done in part 3. Children, we had learned about the process of elections, that is the steps which are involved in the elections. Yes, the first one was establishment of constituencies, finalizing voters list, nomination of candidates and scrutiny of their nomination forms, election campaign, actual voting, counting of votes, results of elections, resolution of disputes regarding elections. Children, this is a very important question. It can come as a concept map in your examination. So please revise it and you have to write as per the sequence. Okay, you have to write it as per the sequence. Don't write first counting, okay, and then actual voting. Then you will get wrong. Okay, so you have to be careful when you write this answer. Okay, so process of elections. Yes, then we had learned about restructuring of the constituencies, that is there are 543 constituencies of Lok Sabha. Okay, code of conduct, that is it explains the rules that are to be followed by the government, voters, political parties before and during the elections. So we had learnt about the code of conduct. Challenges in conducting free and fair elections, that is what are the challenges faced by the election commission, that is misuse of money. Then we had learned about the violence which takes place during the elections, family monopoly, criminalization of politics. These are the challenges which are faced by the election commission in conducting free and fair elections. Yes, so we have completed till here in our part 3. Now let us proceed further. Now children, let us learn about electoral reforms. Reforms means what changes are required, what improvements are required in the election process so that it is conducted in a free and fair manner. Now children, election is a continuous process. Yes, we will always be having elections, correct? Means over 5 years or whenever required. So elections is a continuous process and the future of democracy depends on elections. Yes, so electoral process becomes reliable if election process gets improved. So day by day we require improvements in the election process. Lot of improvements have taken place also. We will learn in this part now. So children, remember, elections is a continuous process. Future of democracy depends on elections and electoral process becomes reliable if election process gets improved. If election process will get improved, then we can have a free and reliable election. Okay, so some reforms are suggested. Let us see what are the reforms suggested below. Okay, the first is to increase participation of women in politics. The political parties should give 50% candidature to women candidates and try to ensure that they get elected. That is, even the women should be given the right to participate, or you can say to contest the election. Even they should be given the right. Okay, not only right to vote, they can also be a part of the affairs of government. They are a part of affairs of government. Children, you have learnt in your first lesson, working of constitution, that in Maharashtra 50% seats are reserved for women in local self-government governing institutions. That is in we can say in panchayat and municipality. In Maharashtra I am talking about, it is 50%. If you take whole country, it is 33%. But in Maharashtra it is 50%. So lot of changes or reforms have been implemented in the electoral process. So to increase participation of women in politics, the political parties should give 50% candidature to women candidates. That is, women also should be given a chance to participate or to contest in the elections. And we should see to it that women, they get elected in the elections. Yes. So children, why women should be given the candidature? Yes, tell me. Because children, there should be no gender inequality. All are equal. Men, women, both are equal, right? So there should be no gender inequality in politics. Therefore, women should be given candidature. Children, what is this candidature? A candidature means a person who is selected by others as a contestant, means among the group they elect a, or you can say they select a person, okay, to contest to contest for any office or honor. So one person is selected among others. So women also should be given a chance, okay, to participate in the election. Yes. So to increase participation of women in politics, the political parties should give 50% candidature to women candidates and try to ensure that they get selected. So children, Indian women, they have held the post of prime minister, then chief minister of various states. Yes, you all know about Indira Gandhi, she was a prime minister, and Jayalalitha, right? They are no more, but then all these, those who were you can say elected, okay, they were elected as a prime minister, chief ministers. So they have proved that they are no less than men, okay, in administering the country. If they are given the reins, okay, they can very well administer the country, right? So these are some of the women's representatives in politics, okay. So they are doing a great work, great job, that shows that women are no less than men. Yes. Now children, now let us see what are the next reforms. Political parties should not give candidature to candidates having criminal background. Children, you had learned in the challenges which are faced, yes, by the election commission. This was one of the challenge, that political parties should not give candidature to candidates having criminal background, because if such people get elected, then there's a possibility that they adopt the malpractices. They can become they can lead to corruption. So it could happen, all such things can happen. So it is necessary that such candidates, those who have criminal background, they should not be given the candidature. They should strictly follow the decision given by courts in this respect, okay. Supreme Court has given verdict that the people, those who are, or we can say the candidates, those who have criminal background, they should not be given the candidature, okay. Now see, Supreme Court, as I said you, has directed Parliament to pass a law to stop criminalization of politics. That is, these criminals, okay, those having the criminal background, they should be kept away from this process, okay. So they should not be given the candidature. The government should take care of election expenses, as is misuse of money. Yes, we had learned that the challenges faced by election commission. The first one was misuse of money. So the government should take care of election expenses to ensure that parties will not make misuse of money, and management of money during elections can be stopped. So misuse of money, how they can misuse the money, children? I had told you in your previous class that they used to bribe the voters, okay. They used to give money, or they give them some household items, so that they want the people to vote in their favor. So such practices are followed, so which is incorrect. So such practices do not take place. So government should take care of election expenses to ensure that parties will not make misuse of money, and mismanagement of money during elections can be stopped. So this practice has to be stopped by the government. So government has to take appropriate measures, and they have to take care there is no misuse of money and mismanagement of money during elections. It has to be stopped, okay. Now children, very important, the Representation of People Act 1951. Okay, now let us see what is this Representation of People Act of 1951. Children, this is not there in your textbook. This is just some extra information I am giving you, because after that you will be learning about this the reforms in this act. So I just wanted to give you some information about this Representation of People's Act 1951. Now children, this act is an act which is enacted by the Indian Provincial Parliament before first general elections. The People's Representation Act provides for actual conduct of elections in India. That is how elections should be conducted in India. That is a code of conduct to be followed, and regarding the qualification and the disqualification of the candidates. So it gives the details about that, right? The act also deals with details like qualification and disqualification of members of both houses of parliament, that is Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Lok Sabha is House of People, yes, and Rajya Sabha, and state legislatures, that is State Legislative Assembly and State Legislative Council. Rules for mode of conduct of elections is highlighted in detail. So children, this Representation of People's Act 1951, it is basically an act which provides for actual conduct, that how it should be conducted, and about the qualifications, disqualifications of members of both the houses. Then rules, that is a code of conduct, okay, rules for mode of conduct of elections is highlighted in detail. So just this is some extra information that what is this act about. So Representation of People's Act should be amended. Amended means some changes should be brought in that act so that candidates having criminal background would not be able to participate in elections. So those who are having criminal background, they would not be able to participate in election. Therefore, I had explained you about what is this Representation of People Act of 1951. It is not in your textbook, children, but just to give you information because it requires changes. Yes, so this Representation of People's Act 1951, it explains about how to conduct the elections and what is a code of conduct to be followed. Everything is highlighted in detail. So there should be changes in this act, there should be amendments in this act so that the candidates, those who have criminal background, would not be able to participate in elections. Okay, now children, let us learn how the first elections were conducted. Now children, at the time of first elections, preparing the voters list was a challenging task. It was very difficult to prepare the voters list because many people were illiterate, they were not educated. So a special procedure of voting was used during elections. So children, during that time 20 lakh steel boxes were made for voting purpose and election symbols were stuck on the boxes. So, and even the ballot papers were given to the people so that they can just have a look at the symbol and they will drop their vote, or you can say the ballot paper, in that box. Okay, because they were illiterate, they were not able to read the name of the candidate. So the voters, they were given the blank ballot papers which they were supposed to drop in the box having the election symbol of the party they wanted to vote for. I had already taught you that the political parties, they get an election symbol. So just by looking at that symbol, they will drop their vote in the steel box. Okay, this system ensured that even the illiterate people could vote. So during that time when the first elections were conducted, 20 lakh steel boxes, okay, they were used for the voting purpose and election symbols were stuck on the boxes. So just the people, they will look at that symbol and they will drop the vote in the box, okay, whom they wanted to vote for. Okay, so this ensured that even the illiterate people could vote. So this was during the first elections. Okay, now a lot of changes had taken place. Now children, let us learn journey from ballot boxes to EVM machines. Okay, now children, the first election in independent India was held in 1951-52. This was the beginning of shaping of democracy through electoral politics. Now children, in initial elections, ballot boxes were used for voting. The use of EVM machine, it started from the decade of 1990s. Many things could be achieved because of this voting machine. Now suppose if the voters, they don't want to vote for any candidate, they could choose an option of none of the above, that is nota, and this option can only be given because of the voting machine. It has become easy for even the disabled people, that is the people with physical disabilities, okay, that is the Divyang, to vote. Even they can vote. it has reduced the cutting of trees for paper. Children, when ballot boxes were used, they had to use the paper. They have to drop the paper in the ballot box, right? But now because of this EVM machine, it had reduced the cutting of trees for paper, and thereby it had helped in protection of the environment. So it has also been possible to have an early declaration of election results, because the whatever the counting is done in this machine, so it is electronic, so even the results are declared early. So this is the journey from ballot boxes to EVM machines. That is, so many changes have taken place over a period of years. Children, as I told you, even the people with physical disabilities, they have some problems, okay? So differently abled people, we say them differently abled. So see, just have a look at this image wherein the girl, she does not have hands, right? But then too she had come for voting. This shows voting is so important. Even one vote is very, very important, yes? So this is really an example for the people that everyone should cast their vote, okay? Now children, let us see what are the what are the changes taken place again in the election process. Now, Election Commission established an expert committee on 8th October 2010. It was decided to add a new facility, voter verified paper audit trail in EVM machines. All political parties supported this. Because of this facility, the voters can verify whether the vote cast is registered properly. The purpose of this important step is to stop malpractices in elections. So this is again a, see, now day by day, because of technology, new changes are taking place, right? So electoral reform, sort of changes, lot of improvements had come forward. So the Election Commission had established an expert committee on 8th October 2010, and it was decided to add a new facility. What is that new facility? Voter verified paper audit trail in EVM machines. And because of that, the voters, they can verify that the vote cast is registered properly, so that the malpractices which takes place in elections can be stopped, okay? Now just here, voter verifiable paper audit trail. Now children, because we say this, seeing is believing, yes? So this voter verifiable paper audit trail machine allows you to see a printed slip for 7 seconds showing the serial number, name and symbol of your chosen candidate. It allows you to verify and confirm that your vote has gone to the candidate of your choice. So verify, confirm, satisfy. Yes, so this is new technology. Because of the new technology, so many changes have taken place, right, in the election process. That is voter verifiable paper audit trail. Okay, now children, now let us see which are the different types of elections. Children, we have general elections, midterm elections and by-elections. What are general elections? Yes children, Lok Sabha elections held after every 5 years are called general elections. So general elections are held every 5 years. That is a Lok Sabha elections. Okay. Then midterm election. Now children, let us see what are midterm elections. Now children, if the elected government, okay, whichever government is in power, suppose it loses its majority before completing its term in the parliament, okay, it means that if the term, that is term of 5 years, suppose the government loses its majority support, or if the parties of the coalition government withdraw that support, resulting in the loss of majority support for the government, and if no alternative government is possible, then elections are held before the completion of the term. They are called mid-term elections. Means if the government which is in power, if it loses its majority support, if the coalition government, it withdraws its support and there is no alternative government possible, then the elections are held before the completion of the term. They are called as mid-term elections. Next is by-elections. If an elected representative in Lok Sabha, Vidhan Sabha or local self-government resigns, or due to his or her death his seat becomes vacant, the elections are held for that vacant seat. This is called a by-election. So children, in by-election, if any elected member or elected representative in Lok Sabha, Vidhan Sabha or local self-government resigns, okay, or due to his or her death the seat becomes vacant, so the elections are held for that vacant seat. This is called as by-elections. So we have general elections, we have midterm elections and by-elections. Yes. So children, you understood this election process, okay, and what changes have taken place over a period of time. And voting is very very important. Everyone should cast their vote. Yes. So one man, one vote, one value. So voting is very very important. It is everybody's responsibility that they should cast their vote for the proper candidate. So one man, one vote, one value. One person, one vote, one value. Let us see what is it. Every adult citizen, that is who has attained 18 years of age, must have one vote, and each vote must have one value. That is, one person can vote once. A true democracy grants its citizens right to vote universal adult franchise. So universal adult franchise means, children, all the citizens, those who have attained 18 years of age, they have the right to vote. Okay, the true democracy grants its citizens rights to vote universal adult franchise. One person, again one vote, one value. Children, there's a question in your textbook in the, so there are certain box questions, okay. So just for extra information, children, I'm giving you, even one vote counts. Very very important, children. Now it means that all adults have a right to vote without any discrimination based on sex, color, race, caste or class. So no discrimination. Each person can cast one vote. All votes are counted. Person who gets the maximum number of votes get elected. So children, it is up to us. We are electing our candidate. We are selecting the representatives. They are our representatives. They are working for the welfare of people. Okay. So we are actually the one. The government is basically for us. So democracy is what? Government for the people, by the people, okay, of the people. It is, everything is for us. So we are responsible to choose the proper candidate. So the country will be running in a very smooth manner. Yes. So voting is our duty as well as a responsibility. It is our duty. Normally many people, they don't go to vote only, right? So that is not correct. They should go and cast their vote. It is very very important, right? So children, I hope you have understood this lesson, the electoral process. Yes, you have learned how elections are very important for democracy to be successful. You had learned about the functions of the election commission, then what is restructuring of constituency, code of conduct, what are the challenges faced by the election commission, what are the changes taken place in the election, that is the electoral reforms, what are the changes taken place over the period of time, and what is, and the different types of elections, and why voting is important. It is our duty as well as a responsibility. So everybody should vote. When you will attain 18 years of age, yes, you have to register yourself and you see to it that even you cast your vote and select a proper candidate. Okay. So children, I hope you have understood this lesson. Yes. So thank you my dear students. Take care. Okay.